It's a summer evening in 1962, and a station wagon rolls off the highway onto the concrete apron of a Texaco station. The tires roll over a thin rubber hose, and somewhere inside, a bell rings. Once, twice. Before the car has even stopped moving, a man is already walking toward it. He's wearing a pressed uniform, a bow tie, and a peaked cap with a star on the front. He leans down to the driver's window and says 4 words almost nobody hears anymore. "Fill her up, sir." And then, without being asked, he goes to work. He pumps the gas. He lifts the hood and checks the oil. He walks around the car with a squeegee and cleans every window, front and back. He checks the air in all 4 tires. He might hand a free road map through the window, or a drinking glass, or a book of stamps. The driver never leaves his seat. When it's done, the man in the cap takes the payment, says thank you, and waves them back onto the road. All of that, the uniform, the oil check, the clean windshield, the free gift, came with a tank of gas. No extra charge. That was just what buying gasoline in America looked like. So what happened to it? Where did the man in the cap go? And why does pumping your own gas in the cold feel so normal now that we forgot it was ever any other way? By the end of this, you will understand exactly what we traded away. And the strange thing is, almost nobody noticed it leaving. It started, like most things, because someone was trying to sell more gasoline. In the earliest days of the automobile, there were no gas stations at all. If you needed fuel, you bought it in a can from a general store, or a hardware store, or a pharmacy, and you funneled it into the tank yourself by the side of the road. It was messy, it was dangerous, and it was slow. Then, on December 1st, 1913, the Gulf Refining Company opened something new in Pittsburgh. A building built for one purpose, to sell gasoline to people sitting in their cars. It is remembered as America's first drive-in service station. On its first day, it sold 30 gallons. Within 10 years, there were stations like it on corners all across the country. And here is the thing. The early oil companies understood that we have forgotten. Gasoline is gasoline. The fuel a man pumped at a Texaco station was no different from the fuel down the street at a Gulf, or a Sinclair, or a Sunoco. So if every company is selling the exact same thing, how do you get a driver to choose you? You don't compete on the product. You compete on how he feels when he pulls in. So they sold service. They sold trust. Consider the uniform. The companies dressed their attendants in clean, pressed outfits with caps and bow ties, at a time when most working men wore whatever they owned to whatever job they had. There was a reason. A man in a sharp uniform looked competent, looked honest, looked like someone you could trust with the most expensive thing you owned besides your house. Texaco built an entire advertising campaign on exactly this feeling. For decades, their slogan was, "You can trust your car to the men who wear the star." They weren't selling gas. They were selling the man in the cap. Get this part wrong and the whole thing fell apart. A rude attendant, a dirty station, a windshield left smeared, and the driver simply went to the competitor next time. Get it right, and you earned something worth far more than one sale. You earned a man who drove past 3 other stations just to come back to yours. And then there were the gifts. This is the part that sounds almost made up now. To keep you loyal, stations gave things away. The Gulf Company printed the first free road maps in 1914 and handed them out by the millions. At a time when a good map was genuinely hard to come by, this was a real gift, and it had your gas station's name printed right there on the cover. Stations gave away drinking glasses, sets of dishes, steak knives, and trading stamps you could paste into little books and redeem for a toaster or an iron. The competition got so fierce that a family could furnish half a kitchen just by staying loyal to one brand of gasoline. Today, a gas station gives you a receipt and asks if you would like to round up for charity. Your grandfather got a free set of glasses and a man who checked his oil. The brands themselves became part of the landscape of an American childhood. Mobil flew a great red Pegasus, a flying horse, above its stations. A symbol so striking that people can still picture it 60 years later. Esso told an entire generation to put a tiger in your tank and put a cartoon tiger on everything they sold. Sinclair had its green dinosaur. These weren't just logos, they were landmarks. A kid in the backseat watching for that flying red horse knew it meant they were getting close to home. Underneath all of it ran a small piece of theater that most people never thought about, but everyone heard. That bell, the one that rang when your tires crossed the hose on the way in. It was an air-powered signal, and it did one simple job. It told the attendant a customer had arrived, so he could already be walking toward your car before you had even shut off the engine. You never waited. You were never ignored. The bell made sure of it. If you're old enough, you can still hear it right now. 2 soft dings on a warm evening. So if it was this good, with the service, the trust, the gifts, the man who cleaned your windshield in the rain, why did it vanish? The answer is not a villain. It's arithmetic. All of that service cost money. A man in a uniform checking your oil is a man who has to be paid, whether he pumps 2 gallons or 20. For decades, gasoline sold well enough that the oil companies could afford to pay him. Then came the autumn of 1973. An oil embargo hit the United States, and overnight the price of gasoline shot upward. Lines formed around the block, and in some places you could only buy gas on certain days depending on your license plate. Suddenly, the entire economics of a gas station changed. The margin on a gallon of fuel got squeezed thin, and station owners went looking for any cost they could cut. There was one obvious place to cut: the attendant. The idea of pumping your own gas was not new. A man named Frank Urich had opened a self-service station in Los Angeles back in 1947, letting customers pump their own to save a few cents a gallon. For years, it stayed rare. Many states had laws against it, written out of a real fear that letting untrained people handle gasoline would start fires. But after 1973, with everyone desperate to save money, those barriers fell one by one. Stations split into 2 lanes: full service, where the man in the cap still came out to meet you, and self-service, a few cents cheaper, where you did it all yourself. And here is the quiet truth of how it ended. We chose this. Faced with the man in the uniform on one side and a few cents off a gallon on the other, Americans drove year after year toward the cheaper pump, not all at once, just a little at a time, until one day the full service lane was simply gone, and nobody could quite remember when it left. We traded the service for the savings. We decided, without ever really deciding, that we would rather save $1 than be taken care of. The station itself changed to match. The service bay, where a mechanic once fixed your car while you waited, became a cooler full of soda. The gasoline became the thing they sold at a loss just to get you inside to buy a hot dog and a lottery ticket. The whole building turned inside out, from a place built to serve you in your car, into a place that wanted you out of your car and walking the aisles. The service station became the convenience store, and the man in the cap was simply no longer in the budget. There is one place that never let go. In the state of New Jersey, it has been against the law to pump your own gas since 1949, a law still on the books today, which means every driver in New Jersey still rolls down the window and lets someone else do it. the last full-service holdout in America. For a long time, Oregon stood beside them, until it finally lifted its own ban just a couple of years ago. 2 states out of 50 where the old way held on the longest. Everywhere else, it lives only in memory. So the next time you stand at a pump in the cold, with the wind cutting through your jacket, holding the nozzle with one hand and watching the numbers climb, picture the other version. A warm evening, a bell that rings the moment you arrive. A man walking toward your window before you've even stopped, tipping his cap, asking to fill it up, and sending you home with clean windows and a free map on the seat beside you. He didn't disappear because anyone forced him out. He disappeared because a few cents at a time, we let him go. And most of us never even heard the bell stop ringing. If stories like this one are worth keeping alive, stay a while and subscribe. There's more of the world we lost still to come.